Castles and fortresses have long captivated people's attention, becoming centers of mystical stories and legends. Their majestic architecture, dark, foreboding corridors, and mysterious dungeons create an atmosphere conducive to the birth of myths and tales. Such structures typically have a long history, with some dating back to the Middle Ages, which adds an additional aura of mystery. For instance, castles built in the 12th century could have witnessed numerous historical events, including wars and sieges, and these events often form the basis for subsequent legends. The sense of gloom is created not only by architectural elements, but also by the surrounding landscapes, where misty forests and high hills serve as a backdrop for mysterious stories. The psychological aspect of castle legends also plays a significant role. Human imagination, driven by fear of the unknown, often turns to the dark corners of history where tragedies occurred, executions, imprisonments, betrayals. These stories, which might otherwise remain unnoticed, gain mythical proportions, incorporating elements of the supernatural. For example, a castle where brutal battles once took place might be a place where the whispers of fallen warriors can be heard. Such narratives become an integral part of cultural heritage, passed down from generation to generation. Castle stories often feature images of ghosts wandering through the halls, seeking justice or peace after violent deaths. These elements not only entertain, but also make people reflect on the past and how history shapes our perception of the present. Research shows that architecture with Gothic elements, such as pointed arches and tall towers, visually enhances the sense of mystery and eeriness. Moreover, castles are often located in remote or hard-to-reach places, adding to their sense of isolation and seclusion, as if they stand guard over the secrets they hold. From time to time, such places become the subjects of research and investigations, when scholars and history enthusiasts strive to unravel the mysteries of their past. Each castle has its unique characteristics that enrich its legends, from ancient wall paintings to hidden rooms and passages yet to be discovered. The multi-layered nature of castles, their ability to preserve memories of past epochs, makes them ideal places for the birth of mystical tales. Legends about castles often become the subject of literature and art, inspiring writers and artists to create new works. Thus, castle stories continue to live, evolving and adapting to the modern world, but remaining faithful to their historical context. Many castles, such as Hedingham and Greifstein, have become tourist centers where people can touch history, listen to ghost stories, and see architectural details that once witnessed great events. Castles and fortresses are not just stone structures. They are repositories of memory, where each stone body breathes the life of past epochs, and each crack in the walls tells the story of those who once lived, loved, and suffered within those walls. Each castle is a separate universe, filled with stories waiting to be told. Castle Carfi is a medieval fortress located in Wales, built in the late 13th century. The castle is attributed to Edward I, King of England, who waged wars against the Welsh to subjugate Wales to the English crown. The castle was constructed in 1239 and became a crucial part of Edward's military strategy, serving not only as a residence, but also as a defensive stronghold. The castle's walls are up to 3 meters thick and 30 meters high, making it one of the most impressive medieval structures in Britain. Inside the castle, remnants of both living quarters and defensive structures such as arrow slits and towers remain. One of the most famous legends associated with the castle is the story of the ghost of Princess Isabel, believed to be the spirit of a woman who suffered from unrequited love. According to the legend, Princess Isabel, the daughter of a Welsh lord, fell in love with a young knight who was sworn to her father. Their love was doomed to failure as the lord was against their union and planned to marry his daughter to a powerful but cruel man. Isabel, upon learning of her father's plans, decided to flee with her lover, but on the night of their escape, the knight was captured and executed. Consumed by grief and despair, Isabel took her own life by jumping from the castle walls. Since then, as local residents tell, her ghost has been wandering the castle, mourning her lost love. Investigations conducted in the 20th century confirmed that strange events indeed occurred in the castle. People reported cold gusts of wind, sounds of weeping, and the appearance of a woman in white who vanishes upon approach. In 1986, a group of paranormal researchers led by renowned medium David Hunter conducted a nighttime investigation of the castle and recorded anomalous temperature changes in several rooms. In one of the halls, they found that the temperature dropped by several degrees and heard sounds resembling sobs. These findings sparked discussions about the existence of ghosts in the castle and attracted the attention of not only researchers, but also tourists eager to see Princess Isabel's ghost. Castle Carfi has become a popular destination for lovers of mystery and history, with its ghost being one of the most famous in Wales. Every year, thousands of tourists visit the castle, hoping to see the ghost of the princess, or at least feel the atmosphere of tragedy and love that envelops this place. There are also numerous literary works and films based on the legend of Isabel, which emphasize her tragic fate. For example, in 2001, a ghost story novel was published that mentions Isabel's story, drawing attention to Wales' cultural heritage. Castle Carfi is not only a historical monument, but also a cultural symbol, enriched with myths and legends passed down through generations. Throughout its history, the castle has endured numerous sieges and battles, but remains one of the best-preserved castles in Wales. In 2020, the castle was recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, highlighting its historical and architectural significance. Currently, guided tours are conducted in the castle, where visitors learn not only about its architecture, but also about the ghosts. Guides share local legends and tell the story of how Princess Isabel became a symbol of love and tragedy. Interestingly, themed events, including nighttime tours with mystical elements, are also held on the castle grounds, allowing participants to experience the spirit of the Middle Ages and hear stories about ghosts. Surrounded by beautiful landscapes, Castle Carfi remains a living historical monument, telling the story of the past and continuing to attract the attention of both local residents and tourists from around the world. The Alcázar of Segovia in Spain is a remarkable example of medieval architecture, constructed in the 11th century. This fortress served as a royal residence and military base, as well as a place for royal governance. In particular, during the 13th century, under the reign of King Alfonso X the Wise, the Alcázar became a symbol of power and authority. Alfonso X, known as the Wise, was the King of Castile from 1244 to 1299. He was renowned not only as a ruler, but also as a patron of science and culture, which contributed to the intellectual flourishing of his kingdom. The Alcázar of Segovia, with its distinctive towers and majestic walls, became a significant center where crucial decisions were made. The walls of the fortress, built from local stone and adorned with Gothic and Moorish elements, are a vivid example of the architectural diversity of the time. The interior halls of the Alcázar were richly decorated and used for royal audiences and judicial proceedings. Special attention should be paid to the hall where Alfonso's throne was located, adorned with carvings and golden inlays. This hall served not only for celebrations, but also as a symbol of royal might. The Alcázar also played a crucial role in military campaigns, providing protection against enemies and shelter for royal families. In 1330, during the reign of Alfonso XI, the fortress was modernized, and its walls were reinforced to withstand attacks. As a result, the Alcázar acquired a distinctive shape resembling a ship, further enhancing its strategic importance. In the 14th century, the fortress became one of the residences of the Castilian kings, which further strengthened its status. Over time, the Alcázar became a significant symbol not only of Segovia, but of all of Spain, attracting tourists from around the world. In the 20th century, the fortress was fully restored and open to visitors, allowing many to learn about its rich history. Today, the Alcázar is a museum where visitors can see numerous exhibits related to the history of the fortress and its inhabitants. Tours of the Alcazar offer visitors the opportunity to learn about the lives of kings, the battles that took place around it, and its significance in the context of Spanish history. The Alcazar not only attracts with its architectural beauty, but also serves as a repository of knowledge about the past, about how kings lived and ruled, about the complex political situation that existed in the Middle Ages. One of the interesting details is that Alfonso X actively supported the translation of scientific works from Arabic to Latin, which became an important step in preserving the ancient heritage. In the Alcazar, there was also a vast library where rare manuscripts and books were kept, highlighting the intellectual activity of the court. Few people know that in the Alcazar, not only royal celebrations, but also genuine scientific experiments were conducted, which underscores its significance as a cultural center. The Alcazar became a place where the interests of science, art, and politics intersected, making it unique. Its architecture, combining elements of various styles, reflects the multi-layered cultural heritage of Spain. In the Alcazar, nightly tournaments were also held, attracting nobility from all corners of the country. This place became a symbol not only of power, but also of knightly honor, adding to its special aura. The Alcázar of Segovia, preserving many secrets and stories, continues to be an important part of Spanish identity. Its grandeur and historical significance attract the attention of historians, architects, and tourists eager to learn more about medieval Spain. Its unique profile and picturesque location on a rock surrounded by rivers make it one of the most photographed objects in the country. In the Alcazar, important events took place that shaped the destiny of Spain, such as meetings of royal councils and diplomatic negotiations. This fortress, which has survived numerous wars and changes, continues to stand as a monument to history, telling the story of the past and preserving the memory of great events. 8 centuries ago, life here was filled with intrigue and power struggles, making the Alcazar not just a building, but a true historical relic. The fortress of Golconda, located in the south of India, in the state of Telangana, is one of the most famous historical structures in the country. Built in the 13th century, this fortress served as the capital of the Kakatiya dynasty. Golconda became an important center of trade, especially in the gemstone industry, due to its proximity to diamond mines that have been known since ancient times. The fortress is renowned not only for its architecture, but also for the legends associated with the Koh-i-Noor diamond, one of the most famous diamonds in the world. This diamond, weighing approximately 186 carats, was mined in India, and its history is filled with tragic events and curses. According to legend, the Koh-i-Noor brings misfortune to those who possess it, especially women. In the 18th century, when the diamond fell into the hands of the Afghan ruler Shah Durran, its fate became particularly dramatic. He lost his kingdom, was forced to flee, and was ultimately killed. Golconda was surrounded by powerful walls, the height of which reached 30 meters. Situated at an altitude of around 800 meters above sea level, it provided a strategically advantageous position for defense against enemies and control over trade routes. Inside the fortress, there were various architectural structures such as palaces, temples, and water reservoirs used for storing water during dry periods. One of the unique features of Golconda is its acoustic system. Sounds made in one place can be heard at a distance of more than 100 meters. This made the fortress a unique place for transmitting signals and warnings of potential danger. In the 14th century, Golconda came under the control of the Qutb Shahi dynasty, which made the fortress its residence. The Qutb Shahis continued to develop the fortress, adding new buildings and fortifications, transforming it into a magnificent architectural complex. At this time, the Koh-i-Noor also became a symbol of power and wealth, embodying the ambitions of the rulers. After the fortress was conquered by the British East India Company in the 18th century, the diamond was presented to Queen Victoria, which gave it a cult status in the British Empire. Since then, the Koh-i-Noor has not only been an object of admiration, but also a subject of disputes between countries, as India demands its return. In the 18th century, when the diamond was in the hands of British authorities, It was surrounded not only by glory, but also by curses, as the tragic fates of its previous owners reminded. Despite its beauty and value, the Koh-i-Noor became a symbol of colonial oppression and the losses that India endured for a long time. Golconda, as a fortress, is a living witness to these events, preserving in its walls the memory of the tragedies associated with this diamond. Today, the fortress attracts thousands of tourists who come not only to admire the architecture, but also to hear the stories about the curse of the Koh-i-Noor diamond and its owners over the centuries. Each stone of the fortress, each tower, and each corridor remind of the greatness and fall of dynasties, of power and passion that intertwine in its history. Golconda occupies an area of more than 60 hectares and includes numerous historical monuments left by various dynasties that ruled this region. This place where history, culture, and legends come together, reflecting the diversity and complexity of Indian history. Fort Bhangar, located in the Indian state of Rajasthan, was built in the 16th century by order of King Madho Singh I, who was the brother of the founder of Jaipur. This fort attracts tourists not only for its architectural beauty, but also for its dark history, associated with Princess Ratnawati and the black magician Singh. Legend has it that Singh was a powerful sorcerer who fell in love with Ratnawati, a beautiful princess known for her enchanting beauty. However, she did not reciprocate his feelings. In despair, he decided to use magic to win her love. Singh created a spell to make the princess fall in love with him. However, Ratnawati, knowing his intentions, used magical cosmetics to counter the magic. As a result, the magic backfired on the sorcerer, and he died. Before his death, Singh cursed the fort, predicting that if it ever fell into shadow, it would be destroyed, and all its inhabitants would perish. 18 years later, according to the legend, the curse began to come true, and the residents of Bhangar started experiencing terrible misfortunes. The fort became deserted, and its buildings began to crumble. Today, Bhangar is considered one of the most haunted places in India, and its visits are often accompanied by stories of ghosts and unexplained phenomena. The Indian government even declared the fort closed to visitors after sunset to avoid night encounters with dark forces. The architecture of Bhangar combines elements of Indian and Islamic styles, making it unique. The walls of the fort, up to 7 meters high, are surrounded by beautiful Aravalli rocks. Inside, there are temples, palaces, and residential buildings that once housed thousands of people. Today, Bhangar attracts both tourists and researchers eager to unravel its mysteries. Every year, thousands of people come here to immerse themselves in the atmosphere of history and learn more about the legends associated with this place. However, due to its reputation as a cursed place, many consider it extremely dangerous to be there after sunset. Around Bhangar, there are many myths that speak of ghosts and unexplained sounds heard at night. Some claim to have seen ghosts wandering through the ruins, while others tell of strange whispers and screams. In local folklore, it is mentioned that the residents of Bhangar tried to avoid the curse by performing rituals and sacrifices to appease the spirits. Despite its dark reputation, Bhangar remains a popular tourist destination. Every year, not only local residents but also foreign tourists come to see this mysterious place. Researchers and historians are also interested in the history of Bhangar. They study the architecture of the fort, its structure, and historical documents to understand how the people lived in those times. In recent years, various archaeological excavations have been conducted, which have helped discover new artifacts and deepen knowledge about life in Bhangar. Research shows that the fort was a center of trade and culture in its time, and its residents engaged in agriculture, crafts, and other activities. However, not all researchers share the view that Bhangar is completely abandoned. Some claim that local residents still live in the vicinity of the fort, and their culture and traditions are deeply connected to the history of this place. Nevertheless, the mystical aura of Bhangar continues to attract attention, and its legends remain popular among tourists and researchers. Around the fort, there are many myths and rumors that significantly increase its attractiveness as an object of study. Fort Bhangar has become a symbol of India's rich history and culture, but also a reminder that even the most beautiful places can hide dark secrets. Spiš Castle, located in the east of Slovakia, is one of the largest and most impressive castles in Central Europe. Built in the 11th century, its majestic walls rise to a height of around 200 meters above sea level, making it easily visible from a distance. Construction of the castle began in 1127 at the command of King Koloman to protect the territory from attacks and control trade routes. Initially, it was a wooden fortress, but over time, the castle underwent significant changes, and in the 13th century, the construction of stone walls and towers began, transforming it into a powerful fortress. Spiš Castle became the administrative center for the surrounding lands and served as a residence for many noble families, including the Zapolskis, who played a significant role in its history. Barbara Zapolska, one of the most famous figures associated with this castle, was the daughter of Polish King Casimir IV and became an unfortunate princess whose life was filled with tragedies and political intrigues. Her marriage to Hungarian King Sigismund I in 1463 was forced and marked the beginning of her misfortunes. After her husband's death, Barbara faced numerous difficulties, including power struggles and claims to the inheritance, which ultimately led to her exile and solitude in the castle. The castle witnessed many historical events, including the uprising against the Habsburgs in the 17th century. At that time, the castle was transformed into a significant military object. The uprising was suppressed, and the castle lost its importance, although its architectural features, including magnificent Gothic and Renaissance elements, were preserved. In the 18th century, Spiš Castle became less significant, and it was gradually forgotten, although its walls still held many stories. In the 20th century, the castle was partially restored, and in 1993, it was included in the UNESCO World Heritage List, which helped draw attention to its historical significance. Today, Spiš Castle attracts thousands of tourists each year who can explore its extensive territories, including preserved halls, towers, and remnants of ancient fortifications. The castle remains a symbol not only of architectural grandeur, but also of the complex history of Slovakia and the tragic fate of Barbara Zapolska, whose life embodies the struggle for power and personal happiness in the face of political intrigues. The height of some of the castle's towers reaches 40 meters, and the total area of the complex exceeds 25 hectares. Thus, Spiš Castle is not only an architectural monument, but also a place where history and mythology intertwine. Glamis Castle, located in eastern Scotland, is one of the most famous and mysterious castles in the country. Its history dates back over 900 years, and the castle was built in the 13th century, in 1230, on the site of an ancient fortress. It became the residence of the Stuart family and later the Earls of Strathmore, and it is here, according to legends, that the famous monarch Malcolm II was born. Glamis is renowned not only for its architectural beauty, but also for its dark stories, including the legend of the Glamis monster. This creature, according to rumors, was a hideous heir to the Earl, who was hidden from society. According to the legends, this monster was the son of the Earl and his wife, but due to his physical deformities, he was kept in the castle's dungeons to avoid disgrace for the family. There are various descriptions of what this creature looked like, but the most common ones depict it with horrifying features and an animal-like appearance. Legends claim that it was so terrifying that even its mother could not look at it. There are also rumors that strange rituals were performed in the castle, some of which were connected to dark forces, as the Earl of Glamis, according to the rumors, tried to find ways to cure his son. In the 18th century, Scotland experienced numerous social and political changes that affected Glamis Castle. During this period, the earls became less influential, and the castle began to lose its prominence. In 1730, the castle was partially rebuilt, and its architecture acquired a more romantic appearance, although the dark stories about the monster continued to be passed down from generation to generation. Some researchers claim that the dark stories about the Glamis monster influenced the works of such writers as William Shakespeare, who may have drawn inspiration from Scottish history to create characters in his plays. The castle also served as a stage for various historical events, including the Jacobite uprisings in the 18th century, adding another layer to its rich history. In the 19th century, the second wife of the Earl of Glamis introduced elements of Gothic architecture to the castle, making it even more attractive to tourists. Since the beginning of the 20th century, the castle has become a popular tourist destination, attracting history enthusiasts and paranormal investigators. Many visitors claim to feel the presence of supernatural forces in the castle, and it is not uncommon to see ghosts wandering its corridors. In 1936, the castle gained fame thanks to the film The Glamis Monster, which once again brought attention to this dark legend. Since then, the castle has become not only a historical monument, but also a cultural symbol that continues to attract the interest of researchers and travelers from around the world. Today, Glamis Castle is part of Scotland's national heritage and is open to visitors, offering tours that acquaint them with its history and mystical legends. Each year, various events are held here, including historical reconstructions that allow visitors to experience the atmosphere of past centuries. It is interesting that many artifacts have been preserved in the castle, including old paintings and household items, which help to better understand the lives of its inhabitants. For example, in one of the rooms, an old fireplace has been preserved, which, according to legends, was used for secret meetings and discussions. The walls of the castle hold many secrets, and each stone seems to have its own story. Visitors can see not only architectural details, but also feel the atmosphere that attracts adventure seekers and lovers of the mysterious. Glamis Castle, with its dark history and beautiful landscapes, remains one of the most mysterious and fascinating landmarks of Scotland. 800 meters from the castle is an old church, where the weddings and funerals of the Stuart family members took place. Kilkenny Castle, located in Ireland, is a vivid example of medieval architecture and has a rich history filled with mysteries and legends. Built in the 12th century, the castle initially served as the residence of the Ross family and became a central element of Irish political and cultural life. In the 14th century, the castle was significantly expanded, and its architectural style became more complex, with the addition of Gothic elements. Kilkenny Castle is also known for its legends, particularly the story of Dame Alice Keitler, who is considered one of the first women accused of witchcraft in Ireland. In 1338, Alice, a wealthy widow and brewery owner, was accused of using magic to kill her husbands. Her trial became a significant event in Ireland, raising questions about women's power and bias in society. Alice Keitler was known for her independence and business acumen in a patriarchal society, which likely led to her accusations. Ultimately, thanks to the intervention of higher magistrates, she avoided execution, but her story became part of local folklore and continues to interest researchers and tourists. Interestingly, the legends of Kilkenny Castle also mention a demon cat, which is considered the castle's protector. According to legend, this cat was associated with Dame Alice and served as her spirit helper. It is said to have appeared in the castle during critical moments to warn of dangers. In 1378, when Alice was on trial, the cat became a symbol of her struggle against the accusations. There are legends that this cat could appear in various forms, adding to its mysterious aura. Kilkenny Castle and its surroundings also attract attention with their preserved medieval buildings, such as the Church of St. Canice, built in the 12th century. This church is known for its round tower, approximately 30 meters high, which is one of the oldest surviving structures in Ireland. The castle and its surroundings have become a popular tourist destination where visitors can learn about its history and legends. Restored in the 20th century, the castle retains many original elements, including medieval walls, towers, and interior rooms, providing insight into life in the castle during different historical periods. Kilkenny Castle is also actively used for cultural events and exhibitions, making it an important part of modern Irish cultural landscape. In recent decades, the castle has hosted various festivals, including musical and theatrical events, attracting both local residents and tourists. In this context, the castle not only preserves history, but also continues to live, becoming the center of cultural life in the region. Behind the castle walls lies a beautiful garden, which also attracts attention with its beauty and care. This garden, over 100 years old, is an example of traditional Irish gardening and attracts nature lovers from around the world. Around the castle are numerous historical monuments, including old bridges and buildings, making this area a true open-air museum. Kilkenny Castle is not just a historical monument, it is a symbol of Irish history, reflecting complex relationships between power, magic, and society. Many researchers continue to study its rich heritage, including the unique story of Alice Cateller, who has become a symbol of women's struggle for equal rights and recognition in society. Kilkenny Castle and its legends attract not only historians, but also lovers of the mysterious, making it an important part of Irish cultural heritage. Windsor Castle is one of the most famous and largest royal residences in Britain, located in the county of Berkshire, just 32 kilometers from London. Built in the 11th century by William the Conqueror, the castle has become a symbol of English monarchy. During the reign of Queen Elizabeth I, from 1550 to 1583, Windsor Castle acquired special significance. Elizabeth I, known for her strong will and political wisdom, often used the castle as a place for rest and diplomatic meetings. Important events, such as the reception of foreign ambassadors and royal weddings, took place there. Among the most famous guests who stayed at the castle during Elizabeth's time was Queen Mary of Scotland. The castle was not only a political center, but also a place where the Queen spent time with her close relatives. Windsor became a venue for plays and festivals where Elizabeth enjoyed theater and musical performances. For example, in 1581, a play called The Queen's Champion, written by poet and dramatist Christopher Marlowe, was performed at the castle, which was a great success. Architectural changes also occurred in the castle during this time. The Queen initiated significant works on the castle's improvement and expansion to make it suitable for her status. In particular, in 1566, the new St. George's Chapel was completed, which became a model of Gothic architecture and a burial place for many English monarchs. The castle was surrounded by magnificent gardens, which became a popular place for walks and relaxation. Windsor also became the center of cultural life, where tournaments, hunts, and balls were held. In 1581, Queen Elizabeth I organized grand celebrations in honor of her coronation, inviting aristocrats from all over the country. These festivities included theatrical performances and fireworks that impressed all guests. In addition to its political role, Windsor Castle became a symbol of English identity and national pride. In the 18th century, during the reign of King George III, the castle was further reconstructed and expanded, making it even more magnificent. Windsor became a place where the royal family gathered during important moments in their history. For example, in 1861, the first royal wedding in Britain took place here, the marriage of Prince Albert and Queen Victoria. Windsor also became a venue for important state meetings and ceremonies. From the late 19th century to the present day, Windsor Castle has remained the official residence of the royal family and is used for state events, including weddings, jubilees, and other important occasions. Windsor Castle is not only an architectural masterpiece, but also a living history, reflecting the fate of the English monarchy over the centuries. Today, the castle is open to the public, and millions of tourists visit it each year to see this historic monument and learn more about the British royal family. Windsor has become an integral part of Britain's cultural heritage, and its history continues to inspire people around the world. The height of the castle's tower reaches approximately 80 meters, and its total area is more than 32 acres, making it one of the largest castles in the world. Český Krumlov Castle is located in southern Bohemia and is one of the most striking historical landmarks of the country. Its construction began in the 13th century when the local Rosenkreutz family, one of the most influential aristocratic families in Bohemia, decided to build a fortress on a high hill overlooking the Vltava River. Construction work was carried out in several stages, and by the 15th century, the castle had taken on its current form, including magnificent towers and opulent Renaissance interiors. The castle covers an area of approximately 34,000 square meters, making it one of the largest castles in Central Europe. Special attention should be paid to Perchta of Rosenkreutz, also known as White Lady. She was the wife of the last Rosenkreutz, Wilhelm, and according to legends, her spirit continues to wander the castle even after his death in 1530, attracting many tourists and researchers. Perchta was renowned for her beauty and kindness, and her image has become a symbol of the castle. According to legend, she often appeared in white clothing and was seen in the places she loved to walk during her lifetime. The castle walls hold many secrets and stories, including the fact that in the 18th century, it hosted social events attended by representatives of nobility from all over Europe. The castle was almost completely restored after the damage caused by the 30 Years' War and was inscribed on the UNESCO World Heritage List in 1990. The interior of the castle includes more than 180 rooms, each decorated in a unique style reflecting various epochs and artistic movements. For example, the Hall of the Rosenkreutz features original Renaissance frescoes depicting scenes from the life of the Rosenkreutz family. The castle is also famous for its gardens, where rare plants and trees from various corners of the world grow, as well as a large labyrinth created in the late 18th century. The entire territory of the castle and its surroundings occupies more than 70 hectares, making it an ideal place for walks and nature exploration. Each year, the castle attracts more than 300,000 tourists, reflecting its popularity and significance in the cultural heritage of the Czech Republic. It is interesting to note that the castle has preserved ancient mechanisms and devices used for lifting heavy objects and delivering food to the upper floors, which serve as a vivid example of medieval engineering. In recent years, various cultural events have been held in the castle, including exhibitions, music festivals, and theatrical performances, making it a magnet for art and history enthusiasts. Český Krumlov has also become a popular venue for wedding ceremonies, emphasizing its romantic atmosphere. The castle's charm is impossible to describe in words, and each detail, from the architecture to the landscape, creates a unique harmony that attracts the attention of not only historians, but also ordinary travelers. It is important to note that the castle is actively studied by historians and archaeologists who continue excavations and research, revealing new pages of its rich history. Guided tours are conducted in different languages, making the castle accessible to foreign tourists. Český Krumlov Castle is not just a historical structure, but a whole world where human fates, architectural styles, and cultural traditions are intertwined. Edinburgh Castle, situated on a rock of the same name in Scotland, is not just a historical fortress, but a true treasure trove of Scottish heritage. Built in the 11th century, it served as a royal residence and military stronghold for several centuries. The castle has been a witness to numerous historical events, including sieges, coronations, and even wars. Its walls hold many secrets and legends, one of which concerns the ghost of a piper boy. The legend tells that in the 18th century, during one of the sieges, a teenage boy who played the bagpipes was killed during an attack. It is said that his spirit still wanders the castle, playing his bagpipes. This ghost has become a symbol of Edinburgh Castle and attracts paranormal enthusiasts from around the world. Archaeologists studying the castle have found many artifacts from various historical periods, including weapons, pottery, and coins, which confirm its strategic importance in Scottish history. For example, in 2001, researchers discovered the remains of an old kitchen dating back to the 16th century, where copper pots and animal bones were found, providing insight into the diet of the royal family. Additionally, the castle houses the Scottish royal regalia, including the crown and scepter, which were used during the coronations of Scottish monarchs. These artifacts were made in the 13th century and have become symbols of Scottish sovereignty. Many tourists visiting the castle report strange sensations and sounds that they attribute to the ghost of the Piper Boy, making Edinburgh Castle one of the most famous places for ghost hunting in Scotland. The 18th century Piper was not the only ghost seen on the castle grounds. It is said that a woman in a white dress, known as the Lady in White, also haunts the castle. According to the legends, she is the spirit of one of the victims from the 18th century. It is believed that she has been seen in various parts of the castle, including the Chapel of St. Margaret, the oldest part of the castle, built in the 11th century. This chapel is not only an important religious site, but also a historical monument where coronations and weddings took place. Edinburgh Castle not only attracts tourists with its architecture and history, but also becomes a center for discussions about paranormal phenomena. Local historians and paranormal researchers, such as Kenny Brady, study the evidence of ghosts and try to gather facts that could either confirm or refute the legends. In 2003, Brady even conducted a study in which he surveyed over 200 visitors to the castle about their experiences. More than 30% of respondents reported feeling the presence of something supernatural. Thus, Edinburgh Castle continues to be not only an important historical site, but also a subject of interest for those seeking the unsolved mysteries of the past. Each year, the number of tourists increases, who not only want to see the architectural landmarks, but also hear the stories about ghosts and paranormal phenomena. The castle has become a magnet for adventure seekers and history lovers who want to learn about how people lived in different eras and what events shaped modern Scotland. It is interesting to note that the castle also offers special tours dedicated to its ghostly inhabitants, allowing visitors to immerse themselves in the atmosphere of mystery and history. Edinburgh Castle, with its majestic walls and centuries-old history, continues to inspire and amaze, remaining an important cultural and historical center of Scotland. The height of its walls reaches more than 30 meters, and the area of the castle is approximately 32 acres, making it one of the largest castles in the country. Each year, the castle attracts more than 1 million visitors, highlighting its popularity and importance in the Scottish tourism industry. Windsor Castle is one of the oldest and largest royal residences in Britain, located in Berkshire County. Its history dates back over 900 years. The castle was founded in 1066 by William the Conqueror, who began building fortifications to protect London. However, it was during the reign of King Henry VIII, from 1519 to 1542, that the castle became not only a military fortress, but also a symbol of royal power and the personal life of the monarch. Henry VIII is known for his 6 marriages and his desire to strengthen his power, which is reflected in the castle's architecture. He initiated major renovations that transformed the castle beyond recognition. Henry VIII added new elements such as magnificent apartments and the Chapel of St. George, built in 1517, which became the burial place for many English kings. The castle houses valuable works of art, including pieces by renowned artists such as Rubens and Rembrandt. Henry also used the castle as a venue for important state events and receptions, which underscored his status. In 1530, Henry VIII hosted a meeting with the King of France, which symbolized the restoration of diplomatic relations after a long period of conflicts. Windsor became a meeting place for European monarchs, allowing Henry to demonstrate his power and influence on the international stage. The castle has witnessed numerous historical events, including the signing of peace treaties and coronations. For example, in 1630, King Charles I was crowned here, marking a significant moment in English history. Architectural elements of the castle reflect various styles, from Norman to Gothic, and serve as an example of the evolution of English architecture. Windsor Castle has also been home to many historical artifacts, including royal regalia and collections of weapons. From time to time, exhibitions are held in the castle walls, dedicated to the legacy of Henry VIII and his era. Windsor has become not only a royal residence, but also a place where tourists from all over the world come to touch history. Millions of people visit the castle each year, making it one of the main tourist attractions in Britain. In 1992, a fire damaged significant parts of the castle, but the restoration was completed in 1993. This event demonstrated that the castle not only lives in its history, but also continues to be an important element of modern British society. Windsor Castle serves as a residence for members of the royal family and hosts official events such as receptions, weddings, and other important events. For example, in 2018, the wedding of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle took place here, attracting the attention of millions of viewers worldwide. The castle has become a symbol not only of the British monarchy, but of the entire country, embodying its rich history and cultural heritage. Windsor is not just a castle, it is a living history, where the fates of kings, queens, and ordinary people intertwine in this magnificent residence. The castle continues to be an important center for the study of English history and culture, offering visitors the opportunity to immerse themselves in the past and learn about the lives and customs of royal families. Warwick Castle, located in Warwickshire, England, is a remarkable example of medieval architecture and history. Built in the 11th century, it became a significant strategic point due to its location on the River Avon. The castle was founded in 1063 by William the Conqueror, who used it as one of his strongholds to control local lands. Over the centuries, the castle was repeatedly rebuilt and updated, incorporating elements of Gothic architecture and Renaissance, making it an interesting subject for the study of the evolution of British military architecture. In the 18th century, during the reign of the Earl of Warwick, the castle became a gathering place for the upper class, and it was then that it acquired its reputation as a center of cultural life. The castle is also known for its connection with Countess Fullerton, better known as the Lady in Grey. She lived in Warwick Castle in the 19th century and became famous for her mysterious appearances in a grey dress, which gave rise to numerous legends and rumors. Her ghost, as they say, still wanders the castle, attracting tourists and lovers of the supernatural. Countess Fullerton was married to the Earl of Warwick, but their marriage was not happy, and she often spent time alone, which may have contributed to her gloomy reputation. Today, Warwick Castle is a popular tourist attraction, welcoming over 100,000 visitors each year. The castle offers a variety of exhibitions, including reconstructions of medieval battles and demonstrations of knightly tournaments, which help visitors immerse themselves in the atmosphere of the time. The interior halls of the castle are richly decorated, and they house works of art and antiques from various historical periods. One of the most famous exhibits is the portrait of Countess Fullerton, painted in the 18th century, which depicts her in the very same grey dress that became a symbol of her mysterious nature. The castle is also known for its gardens, designed in the landscape style of the 18th century, where one can see rare plants and trees. The 18th century was a period when the castle became not only a fortress, but also a place for social gatherings and balls. In this context, it is worth mentioning that in 1806, Warwick Castle hosted one of the first balls in England, attended by such notable figures as Lord Byron and Lady Emily Lacy. The castle actively uses its historical value to attract tourists, offering tours that not only describe its architectural features, but also the bloody stories associated with its residents. In the 20th century, the castle underwent restoration, which allowed it to preserve its unique features, including the original brickwork and fortifications. In recent decades, Warwick Castle has also become a venue for various events, such as weddings and corporate events, giving it a modern feel despite its ancient roots. Warwick Castle is not only an architectural monument, but also a place where human histories, mysteries, and legends intersect, making it an object of interest for both historians and tourists. In the 21st century, the castle continues to attract attention due to its rich history and diverse events that allow a deeper understanding not only of its architecture, but also of England's cultural heritage. The castle in Warwick has preserved many artifacts, including armor and weapons used in the Middle Ages, allowing visitors to feel the spirit of the time. Entry to the castle is through massive gates built for protection against enemies, and they still impress with their power. Inside, one can see ancient stone staircases leading to viewing platforms from which a breathtaking view of the surroundings opens up. The castle is also famous for its historical reconstructions, which show the lives of knights and aristocrats, allowing viewers to immerse themselves in the atmosphere of the Middle Ages. In addition, research has shown that the castle contains many mysteries related to its past, which are yet to be revealed. Warwick Castle remains one of the most visited historical sites in Britain, attracting the attention of both local residents and tourists from around the world. Malbork Castle, located in Poland, is one of the largest and most famous castles in Europe, built by the Teutonic Order in the 13th century. Construction began in 1232, when the order moved its capital from Venice to Malbork. The castle was designed as a fortress and administrative center, as well as the residence of the Grand Master of the Teutonic Order. The walls of the castle reach a height of 30 meters, and the total area is approximately 12 hectares. The architectural style of the castle combines elements of Gothic and Renaissance, making it a unique example of military architecture. The castle consists of three main parts: the upper castle, the middle castle, and the lower castle, each serving its own function. The upper castle, where the residence of the Grand Master was located, is adorned with magnificent Gothic windows and complex brickwork. Inside the castle are the Chapel of the Holy Cross, where important ceremonies were held, and the Knights' Hall, which served as a meeting place. In 1331, the castle witnessed the first military conflict in history between the Teutonic Order and Polish princes, which led to the Battle of Grunwald. This conflict was a significant milestone in the history of Poland and the Teutonic Order, as it opened new horizons for Polish independence. The castle also became the center of cultural life, hosting tournaments and feasts that attracted knights from all over Europe. In the 14th century, Malbork reached its peak when the order controlled extensive territories in Eastern Europe. In 1459, after the Great War with Poland, the order lost part of its lands, which affected the significance of the castle. In 1655, the castle was transferred to the Polish king and became the residence of Polish voivodes, which also changed its functions. The castle has withstood numerous sieges, including the siege in 1613 during the 30 Years' War when the Swedes tried to capture it. Restoration of the castle began in the 18th century when it became the focus of historians and architects. In the 19th century, the castle was fully restored and became one of the main tourist attractions in Poland. The ancient walls of the castle preserve many stories about knights and their feats. Each year, the castle attracts thousands of tourists eager to learn more about the Teutonic Order and its influence on the region's history. In 2009, Malbork was inscribed on the UNESCO World Heritage List, which confirms its cultural and historical value. The castle also serves as a venue for various cultural events, including nightly tournaments and festivals, where visitors can see reconstructions of medieval battles. Malbork is not just a castle, but an entire era where each stone is imbued with history, and the walls remember the souls of those who once lived and fought for their ideals. The height of the main tower of the castle is 16 meters, and the powerful walls built of red brick make it impregnable. Malbork Castle is a vivid example of the power and wealth of the Teutonic Order in the Middle Ages. Its architecture and history inspire awe and interest among historians and tourists around the world. Glamis Castle is one of the most famous castles in Scotland, located in Angus County, near the city of Dundee. Construction of the castle began in the 15th century, when it was built for the Stuart family, and since then, it has become not only a residence of the nobility, but also a subject of numerous legends and myths. One of the most famous stories associated with the castle is the legend of the Grey Lady. She is known as a ghost who has been wandering the castle since the beginning of the 16th century. There are several versions of her story, but one of the most popular is the tale of a young girl who was brutally killed in the castle. It is believed that her father, upon learning of her love for a commoner, locked her in one of the rooms, where she eventually died of hunger and loneliness. The legend says that her spirit did not leave the castle, and she appears as a gray figure, wandering the corridors, causing fear in those who see her. In the 18th century, when the castle was owned by the Glamis family, many reported encounters with the Grey Lady, and her presence was particularly noticeable on Halloween night. 80 years ago, in 1940, researcher Alan Brown recorded unusual phenomena in the castle that he believed were connected to this ghost. He described how doors opened and closed by themselves, and cold drafts of air passed by. It is no wonder that Glamis Castle has become a popular destination for tourists and paranormal researchers. In the 21st century, the castle is open to visitors, and many of them strive to see the Grey Lady. Additionally, guided tours are held in the castle, where not only the history of the castle is told, but also the ghosts that inhabit it. Entrance to the castle is paid, and annually thousands of tourists visit it. The castle itself is also interesting from an architectural point of view. Its Gothic elements are combined with Renaissance features, and the magnificent interiors have preserved original paintings and antiques, allowing one to feel the atmosphere of the past. In particular, in one of the halls, there are preserved old frescoes depicting scenes from the life of Scottish nobility. The castle grounds also include a large park where trees were planted in different historical periods. Glamis Castle is not only a place to learn about Scottish history, but also a symbol of the country's cultural heritage. In the 19th century, balls and formal dinners were held here, where famous personalities of the time gathered. For example, in 1821, King George IV visited the castle and was impressed by its splendor and atmosphere. The castle also became a source of inspiration for many writers and artists. For example, in the 20th century, the famous writer William Shakespeare mentioned Glamis in his play Macbeth, linking it to the themes of treachery and ambition. The true history of Glamis Castle is full of intrigue and mysteries related to its inhabitants. One of the most famous members of the Glamis family was Lord Craigie, who became a victim of political intrigue in the 16th century. He was accused of treason against the crown and was executed, adding another page to the dark history of the castle. In our time, the castle continues to attract attention, and its mysterious atmosphere, combined with its rich historical context, makes it an important object for the study of Scottish culture. Tourists and historians come here not only to see architectural wonders, but also to immerse themselves in the world of legends and myths that surround this place. Glamis Castle has become a cult object that has retained its appeal over the centuries thanks to its mysteries and ghosts. Pelish Castle, situated in the Carpathian Mountains in Romania, is one of the most beautiful castles in Europe and a significant historical landmark. Construction of the castle began in the 1870s at the command of King Carol Vad of Romania, who wanted to create a summer residence for his family. The architectural style of the castle combines elements of Neo-Renaissance, Neo-Gothic, and Renaissance, making it unique. The castle was built under the direction of Hungarian architect Vincenz von Gyka and became a true masterpiece, with numerous towers and balconies. The interior of the castle is decorated in various styles, including French, Italian, and German. Special attention should be given to the library, which houses over 6,000 books, as well as the art gallery featuring works by renowned artists. Queen Maria of Romania, wife of King Ferdinand I, played a key role in the decoration of the castle, adding many personal items and collections, including oriental rugs and antique furniture. She also initiated the construction of beautiful gardens around the castle, where rare plant species can still be seen. In the 1930s, the castle became not only the residence of the royal family, but also the center of cultural life in Romania, hosting various events. Pelish Castle was one of the first castles in Europe to be equipped with electricity and central heating, which was a novelty at the time. In 1940, with the start of World War II, the castle was confiscated by the communist government and used for various purposes, including storage for cultural valuables. After the fall of the regime in 1991, the castle was returned to the heirs of the royal family. Today, Pellesh Castle is open to tourists and is visited by more than 100,000 people annually. The castle has become a popular filming location for movies and TV series due to its picturesque architecture and beautiful landscapes. Inside the castle, one can see unique collections of weapons, artworks, and antique items that create an atmosphere of bygone times. Pellesh Castle is often referred to as the Pearl of the Carpathians, and its splendor leaves no one indifferent, whether locals or tourists. In 2023, the castle was included in the list of the most visited historical monuments in Romania, underscoring its significance in the country's cultural and historical life. The castle actively participates in educational programs dedicated to the history of Romania and the royal dynasty. Exhibitions, lectures, and workshops are held there, making it an important center for the study of Romanian history. Over the years, the castle has been a witness to many historical events related to the Romanian monarchy and its relations with other European powers. Its walls remember the visits of royal personages, diplomats, and famous individuals, adding to its importance as a historical object. Pellesh Castle rightfully occupies its place in Romania's cultural heritage and remains a symbol of grandeur and beauty. Mont Saint-Michel is one of the most famous monasteries and tourist attractions in France, located on the island of the same name in Normandy. This unique architectural ensemble was founded in the 8th century, according to legend, when the Archangel Michael appeared to the Bishop of Avranches, commanding him to build a church on this site. Construction began in 661, and by the 12th century, Mont Saint-Michel had become a major pilgrimage center, drawing thousands of believers in search of healing and divine protection. In the Middle Ages, pilgrims came to venerate the relics of the saint, and the monastery's architecture became a symbol of faith and devotion. Built on a high cliff that rises on average 80 meters above sea level, its unique location allows one to witness the dramatic changes in the landscape caused by the tides. Every 6 hours, the water level around the island can rise by 10 meters, creating a breathtaking sight when the island seems to disappear during high tide. The architectural style of Mont Saint-Michel combines elements of Romanesque and Gothic styles, particularly evident in its 13th century church, completed in the 14th century. Inside the monastery, there are impressive stained glass windows that enhance the atmosphere of sanctity and tranquility. In the 18th century, Mont Saint-Michel was also used as a prison, adding dark chapters to its history. Hundreds of prisoners, many of them political, were held here under harsh conditions, making this period a dark moment in the monastery's history. However, after the French Revolution in the 18th century, a new era began for Mont Saint-Michel, when it became an object of state interest and was declared a national monument in 1788. Today, Mont Saint-Michel attracts around 3 million tourists annually, making it one of the most visited places in France. Pilgrims and tourists walking through the narrow streets can feel the spirit of the past, as many buildings have preserved their historical architecture. An important aspect of pilgrimage is not only the religious significance, but also the cultural heritage that Mont Saint-Michel represents for France and the world. The island also houses a museum dedicated to the history of the monastery and its pilgrims, where one can learn about the rituals and traditions associated with visiting this sacred place. The Archangel Michael continues to be the island's patron, and many believers leave notes with prayers here, hoping for his help. Interestingly, throughout different historical periods, Mont Saint-Michel served not only as a religious center, but also as a strategic fortress protecting the coast from enemy attacks. In the 18th century, the monastery was surrounded by powerful walls and towers that allowed it to withstand attacks. In recent decades, the French government has made efforts to restore and preserve this unique object, which was inscribed on the UNESCO World Heritage List in 1988. Each year, the island hosts various cultural events and festivals that attract both local residents and tourists, creating a unique atmosphere. Mont Saint-Michel is not just an architectural monument, but a living witness to history, culture, and religion that continues to inspire people for centuries. Each stone of this monastery is filled with stories of pilgrims seeking divine intervention, and the Archangel Michael remains a symbol of hope for many. On the island, one can see more than 130 buildings, including residential houses, shops, and restaurants, highlighting its status not only as a tourist attraction, but also as a living community. 80% of pilgrims and tourists come here for spiritual experiences, underscoring the significance of this place in the modern world. Olavinlinna is a fortress located in the east of Finland, in the city of Savonlinna, and was built in 1436 to protect against Swedish attacks. This fortress is known for its distinctive appearance, with high stone walls and towers, making it one of the most famous historical structures in the country. Olavinlinna is celebrated not only for its architecture, but also for its numerous legends, one of which is the story of Lady Olavi. According to local lore, Lady Olavi was a noblewoman who lived in this castle during the Middle Ages. Her exact identity remains unclear, but there are several versions of her biography, including theories that she might have been the wife of one of the fortress commanders. Legends say that Lady Olavi died under tragic circumstances, and her spirit continues to haunt the castle. Local residents claim to have seen her ghost, which is said to appear in the evening hours, especially in the castle corridors and on the walls. In the 18th century, theatrical performances began at Olavinlinna, and the story of Lady Olavi became popular among the audience. At the end of the 19th century, the fortress was restored, and a museum was opened within its walls, where exhibits related to the fortress's history and its inhabitants can be seen. In 2003, an international opera festival was held at the fortress, which brought attention to Olavinlinna, and the story of Lady Olavi once again became relevant, inspiring composers and artists. The ghost of Lady Olavi has become a symbol of the fortress, and many tourists visit Savonlinna to not only admire its architectural beauty, but also to learn about her ghost. In the 2000s, special tours dedicated to Lady Olavi were even started, where guides tell stories about her life and death, as well as about how her spirit is said to inhabit the fortress. In the 21st century, the fortress became a UNESCO World Heritage Site, which only increased interest in its history and legends. Local residents still tell stories about encounters with the ghost, adding new details to the already known tales. For example, some claim that in cold winter nights, the sounds of songs sung by the ghost of Lady Olavi can be heard. These stories embody the connection between the past and the present, showing how historical events and figures continue to influence contemporary culture. There are even records of strange phenomena reported by workers during restoration work in the 1930s, such as cold air currents and indistinct sounds. These mysterious events only fuel the interest in Lady Olavi and her story. In the 20th century, the fortress became the cultural center of the region, and annual festivals are held here, attracting tourists from all over the world. Some of these events even offer special performances based on the legend of Lady Olavi, allowing viewers to immerse themselves in the atmosphere of a medieval castle. Olavinlinna not only preserves many stories, but also continues to develop as a cultural center where the past and present intertwine. Currently, the fortress is one of the most visited historical sites in Finland, with over 100,000 tourists visiting each year. Every summer, guided tours are held here, during which not only the fortress's defense against enemies is discussed, but also its ghost, making these tours particularly popular among young people and fans of the supernatural. Turku Castle, located in the southwestern part of Finland, is one of the oldest and most significant historical landmarks of the country. Its construction began in the late 13th century, and since then it has served as an important defensive structure and residence for local rulers. Built in the Gothic style, it became a symbol of power and wealth in the region. Over the centuries, the castle has been rebuilt and expanded, reflecting changes in architectural preferences and military strategy. One of the key figures associated with the castle was Katarina Monsdottir, the third wife of King Gustav Vasa, who lived in the 16th century. Katarina was born in 1488 and was the daughter of a Swedish nobleman. In 1526, she married King Gustav, who became the founder of the Vasa dynasty, ruling Sweden for over 100 years. Katarina played a significant role in strengthening the dynasty and political stability in the region. Her marriage to Gustav was not only a political alliance, but also a strategic move to unite Finland and Sweden. Turku Castle became one of the residences of the royal family, where Katarina spent a significant amount of time. In this castle, she gave birth to several children, including King Karl IX, who later became a well-known ruler of Sweden. The castle was not only a home for the royal family, but also the center of political life in the region. The internal rooms of the castle, including the royal apartments and reception halls, were richly decorated and served as the venue for official events and gatherings. In the 16th century, the castle witnessed numerous historical events, including conflicts between Sweden and Denmark, as well as internal disputes within the royal family. In 1573, the castle was besieged by Russian troops, which temporarily reduced its significance as a defensive structure. However, Katarina continued to maintain connections with influential figures of the time, including diplomats and military leaders, which helped her maintain her influence and status. After the death of King Gustav in 1571, Katarina continued to actively participate in political life, using her connections to support the interests of her children. Despite all the trials, Turku Castle has preserved its architectural integrity and historical significance. In the 19th century, the castle became an important object of study for historians and archaeologists. In 1991, the castle was opened to the public as a museum, where visitors can see exhibitions dedicated to the history of the castle and the life of the royal family. Today, Turku Castle is not only a tourist attraction, but also a monument that reminds us of the complex history of Finland and its connections with neighboring countries. The preserved fragments of the interiors, including old tapestries and furniture, give an idea of life in the castle during different historical periods. The castle has also become a venue for various cultural events, including concerts and exhibitions, attracting tourists and local residents. The highest part of the castle reaches 60 meters, making it a prominent landmark in Turku. The castle has become an integral part of the city's identity and cultural heritage, reflecting the rich history and diversity of events that took place on its territory. Neuschwanstein Castle, located in Bavaria, Germany, has become a symbol of Romantic architecture from the 19th century. Its construction began in 1868 and was initiated by King Ludwig II, known as the Mad King. Ludwig was born on August 25, 1840, and ascended the throne in 1864. Inspired by the legend of the Swan Knight, he envisioned a castle that would reflect his dreams and aspirations for art and romance, as well as for the operas of Richard Wagner, whom he considered his friend and mentor. The architect chosen to realize this grand project was Edward von Speyer. The castle was built at an altitude of approximately 900 meters above sea level, in a picturesque landscape surrounded by the Alps and forests, which added to its magic and mystery. Neuschwanstein was intended to be the personal residence of the king, but due to his early death in 1886, when he drowned in the waters of Lake Starnberg, the castle was never fully completed. At the time of his death, only about 30% of the planned structure had been built. The exterior of the castle combines elements of Romanticism, Gothic, and Neo-Renaissance styles, making it unique in its own right. The castle walls are adorned with frescoes depicting scenes from German myths, and it features luxurious halls such as the Throne Hall, where a magnificent throne for the king was planned. The construction of Neuschwanstein cost more than 6 million marks of the time, which is equivalent to approximately 30 million euros today. The castle became a dream come true for Ludwig, his fairy tale kingdom, where he could spend time away from the court and the pressures of political life. The project also reflects influences of medieval architecture, giving Neuschwanstein an atmosphere of a forgotten era. Ludwig II dreamed of his castle becoming a place where dreams come true, and he often spent time in solitude, surrounded by art and nature. Neuschwanstein became a tourist attraction after it was opened to visitors in 1886, and it has since attracted millions of tourists annually. As of 2020, the castle is visited by around 600,000 people per year, making it one of the most famous castles in the world. Additionally, the castle inspired the creation of Disney's Sleeping Beauty Castle, which also became a symbol of magic and fairy tales. Despite its popularity, Neuschwanstein remains a place filled with mystery and historical significance, continuing to attract not only tourists, but also researchers seeking to unravel the mysteries of Ludwig II's life and his creation. The interior of the castle is decorated with the finest materials of its time, including marble and gold, as well as modern lighting technology for the era, underscoring its status as one of the most magnificent castles in Europe. Neuschwanstein was inscribed on the UNESCO World Heritage List in 2012, confirming its historical and cultural significance. Despite its beauty and romantic atmosphere, the castle also became a symbol of Ludwig II's solitude, as he could not find his place in the world, and his tragic fate continues to spark interest and debate among historians and writers. Dunluce Castle, located in the southwest of Ireland in County Limerick, is one of the most famous historical castles in the country. It is renowned not only for its architecture, but also for the legends associated with it. Built in the 12th century, the castle was the residence of the O'Laird clan, who owned these lands for several centuries. Perched on a high cliff, its powerful stone walls overlook the turbulent waters of the Shannon River, giving it a captivating appearance and making it an integral part of Ireland's cultural heritage. However, one of the most well-known stories connected to the castle is the legend of Banshee Maud, the wailing spirit of the cliff, said to be the soul of a woman who lost her beloved in battle. This tale dates back to ancient times when the O'Laird clan fought for their lands and influence. It was believed that her wail could be heard in the vicinity of the castle, and it was said to foretell death or misfortune for those who heard it. The 18th century saw the legend of Banshee Maud reach its peak in popularity among local residents and adventurers. Many people began to recount stories of hearing her wail, which attracted tourists eager to experience the castle's mystical atmosphere. For example, in 1801, the renowned Irish writer and poet Edward Leatham wrote about the castle and its ghosts in his work, contributing to the popularization of the myth of Banshee Maud. Local residents claimed that her spirit could manifest in various forms, sometimes even appearing as a woman in a white dress, making her image even more ominous. There are records of strange sounds and visions reported in the 19th century when the castle fell into disrepair, further fueling rumors of ghosts and spirits inhabiting its walls. In 1830, County Limerick, where the castle is located, became a center for folklore research, and many researchers studied legends about Banshee and other spirits dwelling in the area. For instance, ethnographer John O'Connell recorded stories from local residents about Banshee's nightly visits and her wail, which was said to foretell death in the family. Dunluce Castle also became a popular destination for tourists seeking not only to admire its architectural beauty, but also to feel the atmosphere imbued with mystery and history. In the 20th century, when the castle came into private ownership, it was restored, attracting even more tourists. In 1982, the first Festival of Legends was held, where local residents shared stories about Banshee and other myths connected to the castle. The castle became a popular spot for photographers and history enthusiasts who sought to capture not only its beauty, but also the atmosphere filled with the spirits of the past. Interestingly, in the 21st century, due to the growing interest in paranormal phenomena, Dunluce Castle became a site for numerous studies aimed at investigating paranormal occurrences. Some researchers even set up equipment to record sounds in an attempt to capture Banshee's wail. Dunluce Castle, with its rich history and enigmatic legends, remains a significant symbol of Irish culture, where each stone holds secrets of the past, and stories about Banshee Maud continue to be passed down through generations. The legends of Banshee and her wail not only attract people, but also help deepen the understanding of how Irish culture perceives death and loss. From its cliff-top perch, the castle continues to gaze at the Shannon River, and its somber walls hold within them countless stories that may never be fully revealed. Nesvizh Castle, located in Belarus, is one of the most impressive examples of Renaissance architecture in Eastern Europe. Built in the 16th century, it became the residence of the Radziwill family, one of the most influential and wealthy noble families of the time. Construction of the castle began in 1538 and continued until the end of the 16th century, when it acquired its final appearance. The castle was surrounded by powerful walls and moats, making it a true fortress. Its architectural style combines elements of Renaissance and Baroque, making it unique. Elements of elegant plasterwork and tall towers harmoniously blend with functionality. Inside the castle, one can see magnificent halls, including the Knights' Hall and the Throne Hall, where important gatherings and balls were held. The castle has witnessed many historical events, including wars and political intrigues. One of the most famous legends associated with this place is the story of Barbara Radziwill, also known as the Black Lady. Barbara, the daughter of Prince Nicholas Radziwill, was married to King Sigismund III Vasa. She died in 1610 under mysterious circumstances, and since then, her spirit is said to wander the castle. It is believed that her appearance foretells misfortune for the Radziwill family. Over the centuries, many people have claimed to have seen Barbara's ghost, which has made the castle a popular destination for tourists and adventurers. Restoration of the castle began in 2001 and continued until 2012, when it was opened to visitors. Today, the castle is listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site and attracts hundreds of thousands of tourists annually. The castle's walls hold many secrets and stories, each of which can captivate the imagination. The interior of the castle has preserved many original pieces of furniture and art collected over centuries. The castle also serves as a venue for various cultural events, exhibitions, and festivals, making it the center of cultural life in Belarus. The castle covers an area of about 7 hectares, and its main tower reaches a height of 30 meters. The castle is surrounded by a picturesque park, designed according to the landscaping trends of the time. The park includes a pond, statues, and alleys, which are perfect for walks. The appearance of the castle has changed over the centuries, reflecting various architectural styles and fashion trends. Restoration of the castle became possible thanks to the support of both state and private funds, which understand the importance of preserving historical heritage. The castle has become a symbol of Belarusian culture and a source of pride for local residents. In addition, Nesvizh Castle is an important object for the study of Belarusian history, its architecture and culture. The castle's internal halls, such as the White Hall and the Red Hall, are unique due to their frescoes and plasterwork, created by local masters. Each year, various events are held in the castle, including theatrical tours that tell the story of the Radziwills and their role in history. The castle also serves as a location for scientific research related to architecture and the history of the region. In 2012, the castle hosted an international cultural festival that attracted tourists from around the world. The preserved architecture of the castle and its surroundings make it an important object for the study of Renaissance architecture. Interest in this place is growing each year due to its unique history and cultural significance. Nesvizh Castle is not only a monument of architecture, but also a keeper of many stories about the people who lived and created here. Hunedoara Castle, located in Romania, is one of the most impressive medieval castles in Eastern Europe and is closely linked to the legend of Vlad III, better known as Vlad the Impaler. The castle was built in the 14th century, and its architecture combines elements of Gothic and Renaissance styles. Initially, the castle served as a fortress to protect against Ottoman invasions, and many historical events took place within its walls. In the 18th century, the castle became the residence of Austrian governors, and its structure was modified to meet the requirements of the new era. Vlad the Impaler, known for his cruelty, spent significant time in this castle when he was imprisoned in the 14th century. His dungeon, located in the castle's basement, is said to be the place where, according to legends, he tortured his enemies. The dungeon is a dark space with narrow windows through which only a little light penetrates, and thick stone walls that create an atmosphere of despair. Researchers believe that it was here that he applied his inhuman methods of torture, adding an extra layer of mystique to this place. Hunadora Castle has become the subject of numerous myths and legends related to vampires and princes, attracting tourists from all over the world. In the 12th century, the castle was rebuilt in the Gothic style, giving it characteristic features such as tall spires and massive towers. With a height of 18 meters and an impressive length of over 100 meters, it is one of the largest castles in the country. Vlad the Impaler's dungeon, located on the lower level of the castle, was opened to tourists in 2003, allowing people to see where, perhaps, terrible events occurred. The castle has become a popular filming location for vampire and mystery films, further increasing its fame. In the 18th century, the castle also served as a prison for inmates, housing not only local but also foreign criminals. The main cells are 8 meters long and 3 meters wide, and even today their condition evokes fear and horror in many people. Historians claim that the castle, besides its architectural value, has significant historical importance, as important negotiations and agreements between various regional rulers took place within its walls. The castle's territory also houses many artifacts, including ancient weapons and armor, discovered during archaeological excavations conducted since the late 19th century. These finds have helped researchers better understand the military technologies and strategies of the time. Hunedoara Castle has become one of the main tourist attractions of Romania, attracting more than 100,000 visitors each year. In 2020, the castle was recognized as one of the 7 wonders of Romania, highlighting its historical and cultural value. Inside the castle, there are many exhibits that tell about life in the Middle Ages, including ancient household items, weapons, and even paintings depicting historical events. High ceilings and massive walls create a sense of grandeur, and every corner of the castle holds secrets of the past. The castle also has a unique system of underground tunnels that connected it with other buildings and provided protection in case of an attack. These tunnels were carefully designed to maximize the chances of survival for its inhabitants. Each year, festivals of medieval culture are held here, in which both local residents and tourists participate, making the castle a living historical monument. Hunadora Castle is not just a tourist attraction. It is a place where history and mythology intertwine, creating a unique atmosphere full of mysteries and secrets. The Alcazar of Toledo, Spain, is not just a historical monument, but a true fortress filled with legends and myths. Built in the shape of a trapezoid, the Alcazar towers over the city and served as a residence for many Spanish monarchs. In the 16th century, Emperor Charles V, who ruled from 1514 to 1556, made this castle his principal residence. It was here that he received foreign ambassadors and held important meetings concerning European politics. The Alcazar became a symbol of the emperor's power, who was one of the most influential rulers of his time. The walls of the castle bear witness to numerous historical events, including the siege during the Spanish Civil War in 1930. As a result of this siege, the castle was almost completely destroyed, but its restoration began immediately after the war, and it was reopened to visitors in the 1940s. However, history is not the only attraction that draws tourists to the Alcazar. It is said that ghosts inhabit the castle. Local residents tell tales of the ghostly army of Charles V, which appears in the castle at night. They say that the emperor, lost in thought about his great conquests, leads the spirits of his former soldiers who once fought under his banner. Paranormal experts claim that the castle is the site of many unexplained phenomena, strange noises, cold air currents, and shadows flickering in the corners. In 1982, a group of researchers conducting a night investigation in the Alcazar recorded temperature fluctuations ranging from 10 to 15 degrees Celsius. These observations attracted the attention of both the scientific community and enthusiasts of the paranormal. The walls of the Alcazar also preserve the memory of great battles that took place in its vicinity. In 1492, after the fall of Granada, the castle became a key base for royal troops heading to conquer newly discovered lands in America. It is interesting to note that the castle was strategically located on a high hill, allowing the enemy's approach to be seen from many kilometers away. The walls of the castle are built of sturdy limestone, which has been used in construction since ancient times, and many researchers are amazed at how it has withstood the test of time and wars. Inside the Alcazar, there is a museum dedicated to the military history of Spain, where weapons, uniforms, and documents from different historical periods are exhibited. Restored in the 1940s, the museum became a significant center for the study of Spain's military history. The exhibition includes original maps drawn during the time of Emperor Charles V, which show his conquests and plans for the future. The Alcazar, thanks to its architecture and history, occupies a central place in Spain's cultural heritage. From its walls, one can enjoy a breathtaking view of the city of Toledo and the Tagus River, making it a popular tourist destination. Every year, tens of thousands of people come here not only to admire the beauty of the castle, but also to touch its centuries-old history. In recent years, the Alcazar has also become a popular location for film and television productions, further increasing its popularity among the younger generation. In 1995, scenes for the film The Legend of Zorro were shot here, which became a cult classic among viewers. Ghosts, history, architecture, and cultural heritage make the Alcazar a unique place worth visiting. The height of the castle reaches 30 meters, and the thickness of its walls sometimes exceeds 2 meters, indicating its power and protection. The castle continues to be a subject of study for historians and archaeologists, who strive to uncover its secrets, and it still contains many unsolved mysteries. Château de Lednice, located in the Czech Republic, is one of the most picturesque and mysterious castles in the country. Its history dates back to the 13th century, when it was originally built as a defensive structure. Over time, the castle transformed into a magnificent residence, which in the 18th century was remodeled in the Renaissance and Baroque styles by architects such as Jan Ignác Waldstein and Josef Vincenz Klenner. The castle is surrounded by a vast park covering approximately 200 hectares, featuring numerous exotic plants and trees imported from different parts of the world. Around Lednice, there are many legends, one of which concerns the ghost of a drowned bride. According to the legend, a bride named Maria, on the day of her wedding, decided to take a boat ride on the lake near the castle. The boat capsized, and the girl drowned. Since then, it is said that her spirit wanders around the castle, especially at night, when she appears on the lakeshore in a white dress, and her cries can be heard in the distance. This story attracts many tourists eager to see the ghost and learn more about the tragic fate of the bride. In the 20th century, the castle was restored, and in 2000, it was inscribed on the UNESCO World Heritage List. Architectural details of the castle, such as carved columns and stained glass windows, testify to the wealth and status of its owners, the Liechtenstein family, who owned it for many centuries. The Liechtenstein family was one of the most influential in the Czech Republic, and their influence was felt not only in architecture, but also in the political life of the country. Château de Lednice became not only a residence, but also a cultural center where various events and exhibitions were held, attracting artists and musicians from all over Europe. Around the castle, there are numerous sculptures and pavilions, each with its own unique history. For example, the Rococo Pavilion was built in the 18th century and was used for social events. Inside the castle, one can see magnificent halls adorned with ancient statues and paintings by famous artists, which emphasize its historical significance. In recent years, the castle has been hosting tours where guests can learn about its history and legends, including the story of the drowned bride. According to local researchers, the castle is visited by more than 100,000 tourists annually, making it one of the most popular tourist destinations in the Czech Republic. Château de Lednice attracts tourists not only with its architectural beauty, but also serves as a venue for cultural events, such as classical music concerts and art exhibitions. According to historians, the popularity of the castle is explained by its unique location, rich history, and enchanting legends that are passed down from generation to generation. The castle also has its own vineyards, where high-quality wine is produced, making it even more attractive to tourists who want to try local delicacies. The vineyards of Lednice cover more than 100 hectares of vineyards that began to develop in the 18th century. The vineyards are located on sunny slopes, creating ideal conditions for growing grapes. The wines of Lednice are known for their red and white wines, which have received high ratings at international competitions. The ghost of the drowned bride has become an integral part of the castle's cultural identity, and many local residents believe that she protects the castle from misfortune. This legend attracts not only tourists, but also researchers of paranormal phenomena, who regularly conduct their research in these places. As a result, all these factors make Château de Lednice significant, not only from a historical perspective, but also as an object for the study of Czech culture and traditions. Château de Lednice continues to be a living symbol of Czech history and culture, and the ghost of the drowned bride will live in the hearts of those who have heard this sad but beautiful story. Hohensalzburg Castle, situated on a hill above Salzburg, is one of the largest and best-preserved castles in Europe. Its construction began in 1042 at the order of Archbishop Hartwig. The castle served as both a residence and a military fortress, protecting the city from external threats. The castle walls are up to 2 meters thick and reach a height of 70 meters. Over the centuries, the castle has been a witness to numerous historical events, including wars, dynastic marriages, and political intrigues. One of the most famous legends associated with this castle is the story of the ghost of a princess who died of a broken heart. According to the legend, in the 13th century, Princess Agnes, the daughter of the archbishop, fell in love with a simple knight. Their love was condemned, and her father forced her to marry a nobleman she despised. On her wedding day, Agnes fled and, despite numerous obstacles, tried to find her beloved. When she learned that he had died in battle, her heart could not bear the grief. Since then, it is said that her spirit wanders the castle, searching for her lost love. Visitors to the castle sometimes report strange sounds, rustling, and even visions of a white figure that appears at night. These ghost stories attract tourists from all over the world, eager to experience the supernatural. The castle also houses numerous historical artifacts, including medieval weapons, armor, and even old costumes used in ceremonial events. Inside the castle, there is the Chapel of St. George, built in 1048, and the Knights' Hall, where banquets and assemblies were held. Interestingly, during the Renaissance, the castle was transformed into a luxurious residence, where grand celebrations took place. In the 16th century, it served as a refuge for archbishops during religious conflicts. Restoration of the castle began in the 18th century and continued into the 19th, when it was opened to the public. Today, it is one of the main tourist attractions in Austria, where annual cultural events, concerts, and exhibitions are held. The castle has become not only a symbol of Salzburg, but also an important part of Austrian history. From the castle, one can enjoy a magnificent view of the old city and the Alps, making it a popular spot for photo shoots. During a tour of the castle, one can see old frescoes that reflect the rich history of the region. Meanwhile, the castle continues to attract the attention of historians studying medieval architecture and culture. Hohensalzburg Castle, with its captivating legends and rich heritage, remains a magnet for history and mystery enthusiasts. The Tower of London, located in London, is not merely a fortress, but a true treasure trove of history where the fates of kings and queens, conspiracies and betrayals intertwine. Anne Boleyn, the second wife of King Henry VIII, became one of the most famous victims of political intrigue. In 1536, Anne was accused of treason and witchcraft, which, in essence, was merely a pretext to rid her of the scene. Henry VIII, who was desperately eager for a son, decided to marry another woman, namely Jane Seymour. The trial of Anne became a farce, where envy and political gain played the leading roles. She was convicted and beheaded on May 29, 1536. The site of her execution became one of the most visited places in the Tower, where one can still feel the atmosphere of fear and betrayal. It is interesting that after her death, Henry ordered her remains to be preserved in the Tower, and they were buried in the chapel of St. Peter. However, the fate of Anne Boleyn is not the only thing that makes the Tower so mysterious. The ravens that live here have become a symbol of this place. According to legend, if the ravens leave the Tower, the kingdom will fall. For this reason, they are guarded and cared for. Ravens can have a wingspan of up to 1 meter and play a significant role in the history of England. Their presence here is associated with various myths and legends that have circulated around the Tower for centuries. For example, ravens were mentioned in historical records as early as the 18th century, when King Charles II ordered that the ravens should always be present in the Tower. Currently, the ravens are looked after by special keepers who monitor their health and safety. There are 6 ravens on the Tower grounds, and each has a unique name. If the number of ravens decreases to 4, it is considered a bad omen for the crown. Despite its dark history, the Tower attracts millions of tourists each year. Every year, people come here to see the famous crown jewels, which have been kept here since the 12th century. These jewels include such renowned items as the imperial crown, which weighs 2.5 kilograms and is adorned with more than 340 carats of diamonds. The unique architecture of the Tower, its powerful walls and numerous towers, tell the story of its military might and significance in the history of England. The 18th tower of the Tower, known as the Block, was used for housing prisoners, among whom were many notable figures, such as Sir Thomas More. He was executed in 1535, and his story is also connected to Anne Boleyn, as both were victims of Henry VIII's harsh politics. Every stone of the Tower is steeped in history, and even the air seems to be filled with the spirit of the time when the fates of entire dynasties were decided here. The unique atmosphere of the Tower makes it one of the most visited historical monuments in the world, and the story of Anne Boleyn and the ravens adds to its mystique. The ravens, as guardians of history, ensure that the memory of the victims of political intrigue is not forgotten. The Tower continues to be an important part of British history, attracting the attention of both historians and adventure seekers. Himeji Castle, located in the city of the same name on the island of Honshu, is one of the most famous castles in Japan, built in the early 17th century. Construction of the castle began in 1566, under the leadership of Daimyo Hideyoshi, who became the first ruler of the region of Hyogo. The castle is a remarkable example of Japanese military architecture and was recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2009. The height of the main tower of the castle is 51 meters, and it is surrounded by massive walls and moats, making Himeji virtually impregnable. However, the castle is not only known for its architectural beauty, but also immortalized in Japanese folklore through the tragic story of a girl named Okiku. The legend tells that Okiku was a maid in the daimyo's household, responsible for washing precious dishes. One day, she lost one of the 10 dishes, and despite her efforts to find it, the master of the house, enraged by the loss, had her executed and thrown into a well. After her death, Okiku's spirit began to wander around the castle, and according to the beliefs, she appears on full moon nights, counting the dishes as if trying to restore justice. This myth of unhappy love and revenge has become the basis for numerous theatrical and cinematic adaptations, including the famous Bunraku play and several films such as The Ring. Meanwhile, Himeji Castle also served as a crucial strategic point during various conflicts, including the Sengoku period, when Japanese feudal lords fought for control of the land. In the 17th century, the castle became the residence of daimyo and was used as a military refuge and administrative center for a long time. In the 18th century, the castle underwent several reconstructions and expansions, which added to its grandeur and strengthened its defensive functions. The castle has survived numerous natural disasters, including earthquakes and bombings during World War II, preserving its original beauty. Today, it is one of the most visited tourist attractions in Japan, annually welcoming over 1 million visitors. Inside the castle, one can see numerous historical exhibits, including samurai armor, swords, and other artifacts from the samurai era. Himeji Castle, along with its myths and history, is not only an architectural masterpiece, but also a symbol of Japanese culture, attracting both local residents and tourists from around the world. The castle has 8 floors connected by narrow staircases and hidden passages, making it a real labyrinth for explorers. Additionally, the castle is surrounded by beautiful gardens that bloom in spring when cherry blossoms bloom, creating an incredible contrast with the white walls of the castle. Cherry blossoms, a symbol of Japan, attract many photography enthusiasts who strive to capture this beauty. The high elevation of Himeji Castle allows for a panoramic view of the surroundings, and its strategic position once provided protection from enemies. Every spring, a cherry blossom festival is held at the castle, drawing thousands of people to admire its beauty and history. Himeji Castle has become not only a part of Japan's cultural heritage, but also an element of national identity, embodying the resilience and beauty of Japanese history. The Citadel Fortress, situated on a hill in Budapest, was built in 1858 by order of Austrian Emperor Franz Joseph I, following the suppression of the Hungarian Revolution. This fortress, also known as the Citadel on Gellert Hill, played a strategic role in controlling the city and its surroundings. The fortress walls, standing at around 30 meters high, were constructed from limestone and faced with stones, making it virtually impregnable to enemies. The fortress was used not only for military purposes, but also as a prison, and during World War II, it housed German troops. A significant historical event occurred in 1944 when Budapest was subjected to severe bombings, and the citadel remained one of the few buildings that survived. As for the Turkish Pasha Abdul, he was appointed governor of Budapest in 1632. This high-ranking official, known for his harsh policies, used the fortress as his residence for his harem, which consisted of dozens of women gathered from the entire Ottoman Empire. He was renowned not only for his wealth, but also for his lavish lifestyle, which drew attention to his rule. Unlike many of his predecessors, Abdul aimed to foster cultural ties between the East and West, contributing to a certain cultural exchange in the city. His harem, composed of women from various nationalities, became a place where different traditions and customs intertwined. While governing the city, he also built several public buildings and mosques that remain part of Budapest's architectural heritage. Under his leadership, one of the most beautiful mosques in the city was constructed, serving as a symbol of Ottoman influence in the region. Notably, Abdul's harem included not only local women, but also foreigners, highlighting the cultural diversity that existed in Budapest at the time. After the fall of the Ottoman Empire in 1920, Abdul's influence and that of his harem began to wane, but their legacy can still be found in the city's history. The citadel, like the personality of Pasha Abdul, embodies a complex historical period when East and West sought to understand each other despite growing tensions. Today, the fortress serves as a tourist attraction, offering panoramic views of the Danube and the historical districts of Budapest. Each year, it attracts millions of tourists eager to learn more about its rich history and its impact on the city's development. Interestingly, the fortress hosts various cultural events and exhibitions dedicated to both the Ottoman period and other epochs of Hungarian history. The citadel remains a significant symbol of Budapest, encompassing not only its military heritage, but also its cultural significance, which continues to attract the attention of researchers and tourists. Château de Chambord, located in the Loire region of France, is one of the most famous examples of Renaissance architecture built in the 16th century. Construction of the castle began in 1531, when King Francis I decided to create a hunting lodge. The castle became not only a hunting retreat, but also a symbol of royal power. The architect of Chambord is considered to be Domenico da Cortona, who incorporated elements of Italian Renaissance and Gothic architecture into the project. The castle covers an area of approximately 140 hectares and includes more than 13 kilometers of walls. Its architecture features more than 360 unique rooms, including the famous spiral staircase, which allows one to ascend and descend without encountering oncoming traffic. One of the most intriguing stories associated with the castle is the legend of ghosts that are said to roam its forests. These spirits are often associated with Count de Chambord, who was the last owner of the castle in the 19th century. The Count, also known as Henri, Count de Chambord, was a descendant of the royal line and a pretender to the French throne. His desire to restore the monarchy during the tumultuous political changes in the country created an aura of mystery around him. Legends say that the Count de Chambord was not only a passionate hunter, but also a mystic who often spent nights in the forests, where, according to rumors, his spirit still searches for wild animals. The castle is surrounded by a magnificent forest of approximately 6,000 hectares, which is rich in wildlife such as deer, wild boar, and foxes. Hunting these animals was not only a form of entertainment, but also a way to demonstrate the strength and status of the royal family. Each year during the autumn season, grand hunts were held at the castle, to which aristocrats and high-ranking officials were invited. During these hunts, special traps and dogs trained to find game were used. Today, according to local residents and tourists, the sounds of hunting, the cries of dogs, and even the steps of invisible riders can sometimes be heard in the castle's forests. These phenomena create an atmosphere where history and myth intertwine, allowing visitors to the castle to immerse themselves in the world of the past. In the 18th century, the castle became a meeting place for various intellectuals and artists, such as Voltaire and Rousseau, who discussed philosophical ideas and political changes. It is interesting to note that in the 18th and 19th centuries, Château de Chambord became a symbol of Romanticism, and its architecture inspired many artists and writers. For example, in 1830, the famous writer Victor Hugo described the castle in his works, adding to its mystical aura. In the 20th century, Château de Chambord was classified as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, which only increased its appeal to tourists. Each year, the castle is visited by more than 1 million people who come to see its magnificent interiors and enjoy walks in its extensive parks. Château de Chambord has become not only a symbol of French history, but also a place where one can feel the spirit of past eras, when hunting was an art form, and castles served not only as protection, but also as places for creativity and contemplation. Inside the castle, paintings and works of art have been preserved that tell the story of its inhabitants and historical events that took place in Europe. For example, in one of the rooms, one can see portraits of members of the royal family and paintings depicting scenes from hunts. These artifacts help to understand how life in the castle was connected to broader historical and cultural contexts. Château de Chambord is undoubtedly not only an architectural masterpiece, but also a treasure trove of stories that continue to captivate the imagination of people. Château de Chenonceau, located on the Cher River in the center of France, is renowned not only for its architectural beauty, but also for its vibrant history, particularly its connection to Diane de Poitiers, the favorite of King Henry II. Built in the 16th century, the castle's architecture blends elements of Renaissance and Gothic styles. Construction began in 1531 at the request of Catherine de Brion, and the first part was completed in 1536, already impressing contemporaries with its elegant lines and harmonious proportions. Diane de Poitiers, born in 1499, was a woman of remarkable intelligence and beauty, and her influence over King Henry II was immense. She became his lover at the age of 16, when he was still the heir to the throne. After his ascension to the throne in 1550, Diane gained significant influence at court. Château de Chenonceau became her favorite residence. In 1550, when Henry II gifted her the castle, she began renovations that transformed Chenonceau into a luxurious palace. Diane not only selected architectural details, but also cared for the gardens, which were designed in the style of Florentine gardens. She created the famous Garden of Diane, known for its symmetrical beds and diverse plants, including roses and laurel. In 1558, following the death of Henry II, his wife Catherine de' Medici removed Diane from court and took possession of the castle. This caused significant displeasure for Diane, who had invested much effort and love into the palace. Catherine, aiming to solidify her position, made numerous modifications to the castle, adding new halls and interiors that reflected her own style. The castle became a venue for lavish banquets and celebrations, attracting French aristocracy. During this period, Château de Chenonceau symbolized female power and influence, as both Diane and Catherine left their mark on its history. Built on 6 arches, the castle truly embodies the grandeur and splendor it once experienced. Its height reaches 15 meters, and its length exceeds 130 meters. Each room, from the reception hall to the bedrooms, is meticulously decorated with attention to detail and historical context. The banquet hall retains original stone fireplaces used for heating and creating coziness. The castle has witnessed many historical events, including wars and rebellions. During the Franco-Spanish War in 1618, it served as a refuge for French troops, highlighting its strategic location. In the 18th century, Chenonceau became a popular spot for romantic encounters, attracting poets and artists to its surroundings. In the 19th century, the castle was restored, and its historical significance was recognized internationally. In 1931, it was declared a historical monument, preserving its unique appearance for future generations. Château de Chenonceau has become one of France's most visited tourist attractions, drawing hundreds of thousands of visitors annually. Its gardens host annual flower festivals, showcasing the best examples of landscape design. The castle continues to hold mysteries and legends linked to Diane de Poitiers and her influence on French history. Stirling Castle, located in Scotland, is renowned not only for its history, but also for its numerous legends and ghost stories. The first mentions of the castle date back to the 11th century, when it served as a royal residence for Scottish monarchs. From the 13th to the 16th century, Stirling Castle played a pivotal role in the struggle for Scottish independence. In the 12th century, the future King of Scotland, David I, was born here, and in the 14th century, the castle became the site of significant military battles, including the Battle of Stirling in 1395, where Robert the Bruce defeated the English. These historical events have formed the basis for many myths and legends, including those about ghosts said to be seen within the castle walls. One of the most famous ghosts is a soldier in a pink uniform, spotted on different floors of the castle. The legend claims that this is the ghost of a young soldier who fell in battle defending the castle. He has been seen wearing a pink uniform, which is believed to have been part of the uniform worn in the 18th century. Many stories tell of visitors seeing his figure wandering the corridors and hearing his footsteps when no one else is around. For example, in 2005, a group of tourists reported feeling an unusual chill and saw a silhouette in pink passing by their group. This created a wave of interest in the castle and its mysterious inhabitants. Another well-known ghost is a woman in green, said to be the spirit of a woman connected to the castle in the 16th century. The legend states that she was the lover of one of the Scottish lords and tragically died as a result of betrayal. Her ghost has also been seen among the ancient walls, especially in the hall where grand feasts once took place. In 1985, during restoration work, workers noticed that some materials would disappear without explanation, and those who worked in the castle often heard whispers and saw a green figure when no one else was nearby. These stories, filled with mystery and drama, attract tourists from all over the world who want to learn about Scottish traditions and legends. Stirling Castle, which has become a part of Scotland's historical and cultural heritage, was declared a national monument in 1966 and continues to be an important tourist destination. Each year, guided tours are held here, during which guides not only tell the castle's glorious history, but also share stories of eerie encounters with ghosts, adding a unique touch to the tours. The castle was reconstructed and opened to the public in 1999 after extensive restoration. Its historical halls and scenic views attract both history enthusiasts and those seeking the supernatural. Today, Stirling Castle is one of the most visited historical sites in Scotland, welcoming over 100,000 tourists each year. With its rich historical heritage, dark secrets, and ghostly inhabitants, it remains an important part of Scottish culture and folklore. Shillong Castle is located on the shores of Lake Geneva in Switzerland, near the city of Montreux, and its history dates back to the 11th century. Built as a fortress, the castle served as a strategic point on a major trade route between Italy and northern Europe. The architecture of the castle combines elements of Romanesque and Gothic styles, making it a remarkable example of medieval architecture. Inside the castle, one can see numerous halls and rooms, including the Knight's Hall and the chapel, decorated with frescoes and antique furniture. The castle gained fame through the poem The Prisoner of Shillong, written by the Scottish poet George Gordon Byron in 1816. In this poem, a prisoner is described who was held captive in the castle's dungeon, and his sufferings became a symbol of the struggle for freedom. Historically, it is known that one of the most famous prisoners of Shillong Castle, Pierre d'Almay, was held here in 1322 by order of the Duke of Savoy. He spent 12 years there, and his chains, which were used to restrain him, are now on display in the castle. The castle was the residence of the de Savoy family, who ruled this part of Switzerland in the Middle Ages. In the 14th century, the castle became a significant stronghold against attacks on Savoy. In the 15th century, Shillong Castle was transformed into an administrative center, where warehouses and military reserves were located. This castle witnessed numerous historical events, including battles and political intrigues. In the 16th century, after the Reformation, the castle lost its strategic importance and was abandoned. However, in the 18th century, its restoration began, and today it is one of the most visited historical sites in Switzerland. In the 20th century, Shillong Castle became a symbol of Swiss culture, attracting tourists from all over the world. In the 21st century, the castle is open to visitors, and more than 300,000 tourists visit it each year. Inside the castle, guided tours are conducted, where the history and architecture of the castle are explained. Various cultural events also take place here, including exhibitions and concerts. The castle is protected as a historical monument, and its condition is maintained by a foundation that cares for its preservation. Shillong Castle is listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The height of the main tower of the castle reaches 22 meters, and its walls are up to 2 meters thick in some places. The castle is located at an altitude of 400 meters above sea level and offers a breathtaking view of Lake Geneva and the surrounding Alps. Edinburgh Castle, situated on a rock of the same name in the heart of Edinburgh, is not only one of Scotland's most famous historical landmarks, but also the site of significant historical events. In the Middle Ages, the castle served as a royal residence and military fortress, with its walls witnessing numerous battles and sieges. In particular, in the 16th century, the castle was home to Lady Janet Douglas, who became a symbol of Scotland's struggle for independence. In 1533, Janet, the widow of Sir John Douglas, was accused of witchcraft and treason. These accusations were made in the context of political intrigue surrounding the reign of King James V. At that time, after his death in 1542, Scottish nobility was divided into factions, and Janet, from a powerful family, was at risk. In 1538, she was arrested and sent to Edinburgh Castle, where she spent several months in captivity. Under political pressure, she was executed in 1541. Her trial was one of the most notable of its time, and for centuries, historians have studied the details of her life and death. Research shows that Janet Douglas's execution was not just a personal tragedy, but a reflection of broader political conflicts in Scotland at the time. The castle also houses artifacts related to her history, including court documents and letters that illustrate how manipulations and betrayal in the highest circles of power could lead to tragic consequences for ordinary people. The castle itself is an architectural masterpiece, built with granite, with walls reaching up to 45 meters high. Inside, one can see the royal apartments, where Scottish monarchs once lived, and St. Margaret's Chapel, founded in 1100, which is considered the oldest building in Edinburgh Castle. The castle's interior holds numerous historical artifacts, including Scottish royal regalia used during coronations. Each summer, the castle becomes the center of cultural events, including the famous Edinburgh Festival, which attracts tourists from around the world. In this context, Janet Douglas's personal story continues to generate interest, and many researchers and writers turn to her fate to understand how personal tragedies intersect with historical events. Janet became a symbol of female strength and resilience in the face of harsh political realities, and her life and death serve as a reminder of the fragility of power and how easily one can become a victim of political intrigue. It is interesting that Janet's story inspired numerous artistic works, including novels and plays that explore themes of betrayal, love, and the struggle for justice. Edinburgh Castle, as the site of her tragic fate, has become a symbol not only of Scottish history, but also of women's struggle in the face of oppression. In 1832, the castle was designated a national monument, which testifies to its importance for Scottish identity. The memory of Janet Douglas is preserved in various forms, including commemorative plaques and guided tours of the castle that highlight her life and contribution to Scottish history. Through the study of her fate and the history of Edinburgh Castle, one can see how personal stories can influence collective memory and shape our understanding of historical events. Corvin Castle, located in Romania, is a magnificent structure that is one of the most significant Gothic castles in Europe. Its construction began in the 14th century at the order of ruler John Hunyadi, who became famous for his military exploits against the Ottoman Empire. Known also as the Hunyadi Castle, it was built on the site of a wooden fortress and became the residence of the Hunyadi dynasty. The castle's architectural style combines elements of Gothic, Renaissance, and Renaissance styles, making it unique in its own right. One of the most famous legends associated with this place is the story of the ravens, which, according to the legend, are the souls of the ancestors of the Hunyadi family. It is said that when someone from the family dies, the ravens gather over the castle, symbolizing mourning and a connection to the dead. This legend is supported by the fact that large flocks of ravens are often seen in the vicinity of the castle. The castle is also known for its curse. It is said that members of the Hunyadi family were doomed to misfortune and downfall if they did not uphold traditions and honor their ancestors. The curse is linked to the story of how one of John Hunyadi's ancestors, Laszlo, killed his rival in a duel, which enraged the spirits. As a result, the spirit of the killed man began to avenge the Hunyadi family, bringing misfortune and tragedies that pursued them for centuries. Corvin Castle has witnessed many historical events. It hosted royal sessions, important treaties were signed, and brutal tortures and executions took place. In the 16th century, the castle also served as a prison, where many notable figures, such as Belarusian hetman Stanisław Żółkiewski, were held. There are numerous stories about ghosts said to inhabit the castle, including the spirit of Elizabeth Bathory, known as the Bloody Countess, who is said to have conducted rituals in the castle. Restoration of the castle began in the 19th century, when work was done to restore its architectural elements. Today, Corvin Castle is one of the main tourist attractions in Romania, attracting thousands of visitors each year who come to see its grandeur and learn about its rich history. The castle is listed as a historical monument in Romania and is recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Inside the castle, There are museum exhibitions showcasing historical artifacts related to the life and customs of the medieval Transylvanian population. The castle has also become a venue for various cultural events and festivals, emphasizing its importance not only as a historical, but also as a cultural center of the region. Surrounding the castle are picturesque landscapes filled with forests and mountains, making it even more attractive to tourists. The castle's height reaches 35 meters, and its walls, up to 4 meters thick, testify to its power and protection. The castle contains more than 15 rooms, including the throne room and chapel, each of which holds its own secrets and legends. Corvin Castle has become not only a symbol of the Hunyadi dynasty, but also a significant place in the history of Romania, embodying the struggle for independence and defense against external threats. Bran Castle, located on the border between Transylvania and Wallachia in Romania, gained fame due to its connection with Count Dracula, although historically it has no direct link to the famous vampire. The castle was built in the 14th century, in 1388, by order of King Louis I of Hungary to protect a major trade route between Transylvania and Wallachia, as well as from potential Ottoman attacks. The architectural style of the castle combines elements of Gothic and Renaissance, making it not only strategically important, but also aesthetically pleasing. Inside the castle, one can see numerous historical artifacts, such as antique furniture, weapons, and various household items dating back to different eras, starting from the 15th century. Vlad the Impaler, also known as Vlad Dracula, ruled Wallachia in the mid-15th century and became known for his cruelty and methods of governance, including infamous mass executions. Vlad the Impaler earned his nickname, the Impaler, for his favorite method of punishment, impalement, which became a symbol of his rule. Although the castle is often associated with him, it was not his residence. Vlad merely passed by it when traveling through his principality. However, romantic and frightening tales of vampires, particularly due to Bram Stoker's novel Dracula, published in 1899, created a myth about the castle as Dracula's lair. This led to the castle becoming an unofficial tourist capital for vampire enthusiasts. Every year, thousands of tourists come to see the place that has become a symbol of fear and mystery. The castle was opened to the public in 1938 and has since become a museum featuring exhibits related to Romanian history and the culture of the region. In the 18th century, the castle also served as an important defensive structure, and its architectural features, such as narrow corridors and high towers, created additional obstacles for enemies. Inside the castle, various styles are reflected, including Gothic arches and Renaissance elements, making it an architectural monument. In recent years, Bran Castle has actively used marketing strategies to draw attention to its vampire theme, including themed events, exhibitions, and even night tours. The castle hosts numerous cultural events, concerts, and festivals, making it the center of cultural life in the region. The castle is located at an altitude of around 900 meters above sea level and is surrounded by picturesque Carpathian landscapes, adding to its attractiveness. In the 18th century, it became an important symbol of Romanian national identity, and in 2003, the castle was returned to the descendants of the royal family, marking a significant event in Romanian history. Bran Castle is not just a tourist attraction, but a living page of history, where each stone holds many secrets and legends that come to life in the stories of visitors and guides. The height of the castle reaches around 27 meters, and its walls, up to 3 meters thick, convey a sense of impregnability. Inside the castle, one can see the famous hall with a fireplace, built in the 16th century and serving as the castle's center of life. Over the years, the castle has witnessed many historical events, including wars, sieges, and coronations, making it an integral part of Romanian history and culture. Interest in Bran Castle continues to grow, and it remains a place where history, legends, and modern myths intertwine.